All right, good morning, everybody. Asmat, Fred, Harsh, and Tatiana, welcome.
Morning.
Hi, morning.
Hey, good morning.
So, what's a big plan for the weekend for everybody?
I plan to go to maybe see some tulips in Niagara. So it's
Oh,
a season now.
right. Yeah, we're heading to Ottawa next week.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, that's cool.
yeah, we have the Tulip Festival, 9th to 19th, I believe. So,
Oh, I see. Nice.
yeah.
I know the most tulips are in Netherlands.
Yes, I just was very close to say that we can hardly compete with the Netherlands field of tulips. So here you don't need to go anywhere specific. No, there is a specific park, Keukenkorf, where you can see the best tulips of the world. But there are also wild fields of tulips where they grow the bulbs, and you just go drive and you can see kilometers of tulips.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just waiting for you to invite us to Netherlands. So
You
we'll
are invited.
Yeah.
Everyone is invited. Please come and see.
Harsh, what's your plan?
Relaxing today and visiting the niece tomorrow.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
Asmat, seems like the weather is nice. Maybe.
Yeah, I might take out the bike, the road bike, maybe tune it up or something and go for a ride.
Okay,
Nice.
cool. All
What about
right.
yourself, Aaron?
No, well, my wife is in Ottawa for a convention, so it's me and Hannah. So we
Hmm.
have something planned. So she wants to go watch the Snow White movie. So I'll be taking her for that and a few other things.
I see. Nice. And
Yeah.
Tatiana, what about you?
I'm actually half of my Saturday already, given our time zone difference, and we'll do a bit of some family time tomorrow morning, and in the afternoon, departure for a Chile trip. So I will be next 3 weeks in Chile, in
Oh,
Santiago.
Nice. So I think we should probably introduce Tatiana to the audience. So Tatiana, welcome to the podcast. We are very happy you're here with us, spending your afternoon, our morning. Let's start with a brief introduction so everybody knows where you're from, what you do.
Mhm. Yes. Let me pick up. So, Tatiana Suminam, I am a professional program manager for Oracle transformation programs. I'm Ukrainian by origin. I have been born and grew up in Ukraine and actually started my career. For the last 10 years, I've been based from the Netherlands, working and driving a transformation across various countries. In the background, I have a master's in finance, so I started as a finance person, and I've been in telecom industry for 25 years and primarily driving the transformation with the help of technology. Maybe it's embedded in a type of the business because I was recently reflecting that telecom is constantly bouncing with the new technologies and developing and bringing new things. So many years ago, we could hardly imagine our iPhones. We could hardly imagine the applications what we have. And technology is a massive enabler of this industry. That's what keeps us connected. That's what delivers to us new amazing services. We are now talking AI, and all of this happened through the last 30 years. And that could be a technological disruption or technological enablement. So that's a bit of where I started constantly to bounce into technology and how technical things came into my life. So I've been doing rollout of networks as well, telecom networks, and quite some transformational projects to deploy new platforms. Oracle Cloud is the one where through the last 10 years I've been building more competencies and creating new success stories, transforming the companies towards Oracle Cloud. And here I'm not using the word migrating or transitioning. No, it's really transforming, because if you look into modern type of applications, what we have, quite in some cases, we will need to change the way how we run our business or how we do basic processes. And there would be some territories where we will be building out of this Lego blocks of Oracle or whatever solution, something unique what differentiates the company or your business. So that's a bit of the story who I am. Now I'm more an independent advisor, advising companies on the transformation journey, how to prepare internally, how to select the product, how to select the vendor, and how to execute in a good manner to have a successful go live. So it's never easy. It's a massive change journey. It's a complex technical program usually. So there is quite a decent amount of complexity there. So it takes time and effort, and have quite some lessons learned out of what I have seen and have done before, and helping the clients to onboard on new technologies in a smooth manner.
Nice, I love it.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah.
I did have a question around you're part of the so Women on Boards Ukraine.
Yes.
If you could maybe talk a little bit about that.
Oh, you are touching on the point of diversity. Actually, I wanted to comment that today I feel like a complete diversity contributed as well. So yes, I'm a part of Women on Board in Ukraine, and I'm also a part of Certo Vrouwen in Netherlands. So there is a similar organization. And the primary mission is to endorse women contribution to business and governmental development, to be present on board. So let's be honest, in the past it was a disaster problem. So women were pretty often cut off of multiple opportunities ahead. There are a lot of things progressed across Europe, across Ukraine, but still it's a separate topic. So we really need to make sure that there is a sufficient and proper platform for women to grow, and it goes into education, it goes into career growth. So it's still challenging. Maybe even in some industries, it's extremely challenging. And when we talk about boards and about taking some bold decisions and making some impact on economical environment or overall society environment, we still have a gap of the representation of women there. And maybe here, me being a bit of attached very close to technology, I also observe that still when you go into universities, when we talk about STEM, not that many women are yet uplifting the bar and taking this direction. And just because of perception and feeling that the doors will be closed. So here we still need to do a lot of work with our teenagers and with our young generation, that the doors are open, they are there, and there are enough of people who will help and give a hand to girls and women to step up into technical field. We bring diversity, so let's be honest. We think slightly differently. In combination, we can play and deliver better things and create the impact. And my daughter is now 17. She is now making a choice, and she has a preference computer science. So she doesn't start with finance, she goes directly into computer science. And we've been doing around across the universities here, and that's like a technical stuff, Delft Technical University or Eindhoven Technical University. And each time when I ask what is the share of female representation in the student communities, unfortunately on STEM it's still very, very low. So on computer science, in some cases, it varies 10 to 20%, So again, 10% is quite low.
Yeah.
But again, that's something where I believe a bit of more talking openly about this, giving a hand to young generation, girls and women, to reflect, to help, to understand how it can fly, and we can open the doors, and we might see more women joining your EPM coffee chats.
Yeah, we would love to. We would love to. I know I'm reaching out to a few more, so hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Please,
actually
and that's a good moment to show that it's completely doable. I meet brilliant women in technology. So they have been for years there. Some of them never acknowledge the fact that in the past they were a bit of a unicorn, but now they are becoming like a role model for young generation. So we just need to bring it to their conscious that suddenly they become a role model.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for that. And I know, Harsh, you and I chatted yesterday. You had a few specific questions for Tatiana, so maybe we'll start there.
I think before we jump into the super specific ones, just overall, a lot of our audience, they're EPM folks that work in different parts of projects and work on single systems and applications. Are you able to give like a high 10,000-foot overview of a typical project, a transformation project, just from a high level, and then I think we'll start digging in from there?
Yes. So if you go very, very helicopter level, so let's imagine the business and the company, they are running their show, they are serving the clients and so on, and hopefully they are growing, hopefully they are making good margins. At a certain point of time, they have polished all front end for the customers, everything is digital, fantastic, and so on. But still, if inside the kitchen they are managing all their data in Excel or in quite a legacy accounting applications, at a certain point of time, someone is raising the point, how shall we change this internally? And here, I see more and more people are talking about either back office or enterprise support elements. So when we talk about in-house factory, how you serve your clients, you have some resources, and how you manage these resources is actually impacting the value. And that's a bit of where the first discussion and dancing is starting. In some cases, IT folks are bringing the problem and saying, oh, by the way, we have an application which is end of life next year. Shall we just move it to another technology or platform? And nowadays, I would say use it as a moment. So never substitute technology for a technology, always substitute technology for a better technology. So that's a bit of a trade-off you need to make. And it starts with a vision or with a platform why you're wanting to change. And then it's a bit of a combination where there is no usually single owner in the company. It's a mix of CFOs, chief finance officers, CIOs, CHROs, so who are starting to discuss the point that we would like to have more unified or better platform, and maybe it's a moment for us to reconsider our processes to the next level. The moment when the thought comes into shape, then there are standard steps of the process, like selection of the product. For sure, if you have something already working, if you are planning to invest and change the technology, it makes sense to go and have a look at the vendors, look at the products, platforms, family of products, because pretty often it makes sense to replace quite a few functionalities, not only small bits and pieces. And then through selection of the product, you're making a choice which product has the closest and the best fit for your business, because again, we are planning to serve the business. And here, maybe first track what can happen. You need to look into a product with a future mindset, not with your legacy mindset. And what I see, that's usually one biggest trap for the clients when they start to measure the product not with a future perspective, but with what they have built already in the past on the legacy. So that's a bit of a tension moment, pressure moment when you need to start letting go the legacy. Yes, respect the value out of it, but you really need to have an open horizon. How would you see your business in 5, 10 years? You are changing technology for the years. So the moment when you have made the choice on the product, hopefully then you are maybe at the same moment you've been making a choice on system integrator, but you will need to find a partner or capacity capability which will help you to change the processes, create the new platform or configure it into a proper format and help you to transition from legacy application into a new application. So making a choice on this capability is also a bit of a sensitive moment. You have a lot of system integrators on the market, and defining the right one for you and for your journey, it takes time. It takes quite some iterations and learning across the journey. But at the end, you need to select the partner who will be staying with you and making sure that you successfully leverage the technology. Then, if you take the deployment path here, you know it pretty well. You start with design, crafting how you would like to see it. You go in configuration and maybe some build of integrations. You go into testing. And after testing, you get into an exciting moment of cutover. And after you went through cutover in successful manner, you are stabilizing the system. And somewhere 3 months down the road, you should have the system which is relatively stable. And you should have your organization switching and cutting off the legacy things and leaving them behind. And having already a new mindset how to operate the cloud further. And where I do the last joke, going live with the cloud is not a finish line. So in this project, so technically it's the beginning of life in the cloud, which is pretty often different. And what I say, you normally achieve certain part of value with deploying the system. You have much bigger chunks of value what you can capture when you get maturity in the cloud. So when your team learns and trains the teams how to operate it smoothly, how to use the opportunities and how to capture the value, then configuration and everything will start changing. And luckily, Oracle Cloud is very dynamic system, so no longer you are locked into some predefined configurations. You can pull new functionality, you can configure something new what you would like to offer to your business. That becomes a new innovation platform, and I really endorse people to think beyond go live, because that's the moment when you can get the next level of value for your business.
Yeah, I have maybe a follow-up question. So you mentioned product selection.
Yes.
And obviously, if it's an ERP project, obviously there are many, many vendors out there. When you do discuss about the product, what are some of the key features that you look at, in terms of, okay, this is probably the right product for the client?
I think that it's a bit of a mixture of things. So for sure, there is a functional overview. So here again, as I was mentioning, it's IT team and functional team who will need jointly to make a choice on the product. It cannot be done only by one side of the team. So I would normally start with functional overview, how the platform serves your business, what are the processes and functionalities available. Then there is normally quite a good technical due diligence overview, because again, it's a technical platform. It should have certain levels of security, certain levels of integration, certain level of requirements on performance and so on. and quite a few things which are more from a strategic perspective, how this platform will integrate into overall architecture of the company and so on. So I really find it also mission critical to think in the context of overall IT landscape of the company, because it's very easy to bring an application, but then it's very challenging to make it work with the rest of environment of your company. So it's a bit of, it starts here, and then there is also one factor which I mentioned to people. Yes, people are used to functional technical requirements. It's like security, we can discuss, check box, put pluses and minuses. There is also another dimension where I would really recommend people to have a look carefully. It's a change effort which is required to get into the system. So again, we can see quite some competing products. Companies and teams have built some capabilities with one product, and when you are switching from one product to another, that normally takes some effort, because usually competing products are designed with a different logic. So again, it shouldn't be underestimated. It might have a reason to switch one product for another, for sure. But when you are switching the products, you need to make sure that you understand what it will require in terms of managing your teams and mindset of organization to switch into a new generation or new product at all. So quite basic things. There is one point which we recently discussed on integrity of the solution. So maybe that's where a bit of this discussion of EPM, ERP, HR, supply chain management comes on the table. So this two favorite concepts, best of suit or best of breed. So we are back to this discussion, and again, my opinion, I more and more see a value of integrated platforms when you get like the products out of one family, one product portfolio. They are much easier in terms of integration. So in many cases, they are pre-integrated by the vendor, and they also secure quite a lot of logic between these modules. So we had once a discussion with Fred where the EPM of one product can easily coexist with Oracle, ERP, and so on. So I've seen coexistence of different products, but that's coexistence. So I do not call it a smooth integration. So you still need to make an effort as a client who is using two products. You need to watch out that these two products are coming together nicely and in integrated manner. So the further I go, my personal opinion, again, it can be discussed on landscape of applications or company-specific asks, but if there is a choice to go for one platform where you have various products in one platform, I would take this route, as I find it more reliable, more sustainable, and allowing to leverage much more out of technology with a less effort from client side.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because if you're coexisting with a different system and with the rapid evolvement of the product, like you can see EPM, every month there's something new coming out.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if it's a different system, you also have to watch out for, okay, is there a change happening on the other system that I need to be aware of? Change my integrations, data feed, whatever. Yeah, so that's a great point.
It's actually a very valid point, because EPM has the fastest rhythm, the most frequent rhythm of updates. So ERP each 6 months, EPM each month. So again, if you add additional a few other applications with a different pace, I really feel sad for IT teams which will need to manage this horrible schedules of everything, and then just they will be busy constantly with regression testing. So
yeah, true. And like from a product selection perspective, I had one more, maybe a thought. So do we also look at the maturity of the product and also how the product is evolving for the future. That I think is something that you keep in mind, I'm guessing.
Yes, that's a very valid point, and maybe that brings us back to this discussion of functional requirements, but looking more ahead. How would you like to see your business in the future? And maybe here we are now getting into quite an interesting moment when product will help us to think more about what we would like to see in the future. So if in the past it was more function, tell us what you need, and then technology will execute. Now technology will be constantly bringing something on the plate, and function just need to say, yes, I want this, no, I don't want this, and so on. So I feel like we are at the moment when the coin is flipping on another side.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
If I can extend that, and I'm very curious if you see, when in particular industries, clients would prefer to select, for example, in manufacturing, maybe it could be SAP versus Oracle, or if it's retail, if it's, I don't know, telecom, it could be Oracle. Do you see there is a big, I would say, pro-choice in particular industries between vendors?
I would say that was a case in the past. So now, again, I do not know all the details, but my personal opinion based on information and talks to the clients, what I see, there is certain geographical preference. So let's be honest, there are bluish parts of the world, reddish parts of the world, and there is heated competition on some. But all in all, I think that there is also a reshuffle. I see quite some swaps happening, one platform for another. We are talking about red and blue vendors, SAP, Oracle. I see the switches happening, and it's primary competition. And I have a feeling that SAP and Oracle have a different curve of evolution of their product, and that will impact this distribution and preference of the clients. Again, my personal opinion, so it's not scientifically justified or whatever. SAP in the past was offering a lot of customization, which was good when you had in the past to build everything from scratch. Now with the cloud solution, that becomes tricky. It's not really feasible in the cloud. So cloud version of SAP is not that generous on functionalities which used to be in on-premise. That's where a bit of the catch is happening. When we talk about Oracle in the past, it was more plain box, less functionalities. But now with the cloud, suddenly the cloud development and features grew up rapidly globally. So it's also leveraging a bit of global intelligence, what is needed by the clients, and then suddenly it arrives to the product. So I see that cloud technically enabled Oracle to progress heavily the product ahead. So these are, again, my personal feelings, how the vendors are evolving through the last 5 years. So I would say 5 years. And that creates different directions of growth for them. And that will again trigger some of the reshuffles. So on-premise applications, many of them are getting end of life upcoming 3-5 years. So we will see this competition a bit of growing and pushing further. And I would see some redistribution of market share between these vendors for sure. Maybe evenly, maybe not. So.
Yeah, very interesting. Looking forward to that. We'll see what will happen.
Yeah, one thing I would ask, Tatiana, like I know with the transformation, like how is change management, like what challenges do you see with new clients or even getting new users to train and adopt the new system? Like, how do you overcome or see some of those benefits?
Mm-hmm. I will start a bit with the challenges and bring in the parallels, how you can help with these challenges. I still see a lot of flavor and impact of IT projects at the beginning. So let's be honest, this shouldn't be an IT project. That's like a business transformation which is enabled by technology. So IT technology is a massive, massive enabler, but the change should happen at the business side. And I think that the first challenge is this self-confession, recognition, acknowledgement that should be a business change. The moment when it comes, the moment when there are senior stakeholders and leaders in the organization, this thought comes and goes and becomes embedded into daily life of people, and you see the change which is happening. So I think that's the first part of challenge. And it starts with recognizing that it's an opportunity and technology is an enabler. Second challenge is for sure going through this transformation journey. So I have seen quite some clients for whom this journey was quite painful and not always successful from first attempt. Let's be honest, there are enough of some news on the market when some of the big deployments are drastically failing globally. And it's not dependent on the product. It's not like a problem of SAP or Oracle. You can fail any product if you are not well organized. So it's high important role of system integrator who should technically help the client to go through the journey, raise red flags when you are not on track, bring some capabilities, methodologies, technologies to help the client to go through this change and literally handhold through this transformation journey. And the moment when client also needs to be quite conscious and realize the effort which is required from the organization, it's not only hiring system integration. It's to be honest, your business and IT team will need to spend a decent share of their time, in some cases, majority of their time, on deciding on very small but technical things which need to be in the system, defining the processes, defining data sets, defining integrations. So once I had a debate with CFO, and CFO was saying, easy, you bring me all the decisions we need to take and I will take them in one day. And I told him there are no 100 big decisions, there are thousands of small decisions which should be taken. And they can be taken only by operational people, by functional people, by IT people who own the content, who know the company. They will need to decide on their mandate within their scope and remit on a lot of the things, and this could be hundreds of smaller decisions, but in totality it's like thousands. So making sure that there is a team which is able to allocate the time and which is understanding exactly what they do, that they are taking these decisions for upcoming 5-10 years, is mission critical for success. Then for sure it's a lot about hand-holding business, end users and so on, because before this we were talking more about project team or professional users. They are normally the ones who would be using the system on a daily basis, and if they go with you through a transformation journey, by the moment of go live they will know even more than anyone. But you will have probably hundreds of users. You might have business somewhere at the back waiting for some sophisticated report and so on. And making sure that there is good communication, there is a proactive intervention in various forms and shapes is important. And for sure, training people is also mission critical. Again, right now, change management teams are equipped with so many tools. You can find surveys, you can find infographics, you can find even in products inbuilt learning capabilities like guided learning in Oracle, whatever. So again, classical in-class online trainings are still on the plate. So knowledge reference cards and so on. So the portfolio for change management is big enough. So depending on the culture of organization, on profile of your end users, you can fine tune these messages and make sure that the message is delivered. And for sure, through a critical moments, there should be a proper touch points and hand holding of end users. At the end, we all receive gazillions of emails. We see a lot of, especially if there are mandatory trainings, we do a lot of trainings, but then not always realizing how to, what we should do at the end. So there should be some humans and proper touch points where a person can openly, without any fear, and come back and say, I didn't get it, help me. I need to do, I don't know, to raise like an absence request, or I need to raise a PO, help me to do this correctly. So if you create this model, how you onboard your end users and there are touch points to support them, and if you show the value what you create for the company, there is a much higher probability to get it as a success. Because at the end, people will still perceive it a bit of as a challenge or pressure at certain moment of time. But then when you are very good in explaining what are the benefits out of this, most people will go through it, and in a few months you will have people who will be supporting and endorsing and saying, why didn't we do it earlier?
Yeah, and then that's also something that I've seen, with ERP big implementations, like, the buy-in from the users, subject matter experts, you know, train the trainer, having lunch and learn sessions, all of those things really help up.
Yes, and that's using a variety of tools which are helping to connect and support people, because I think that here we pretty often discuss technical content things. We
Yeah.
need to keep human in the loop. We are alive. So, and our end users, they have their hearts beating, their souls attached to the companies, and pretty often when they are not happy, they might not be happy because they perceive or they fear that that's something what might impact negatively them or a company. So it's for me it's fundamental to keep human in the horizon, run business, but keep the human in the horizon of this journey.
And if I can clarify, Tatiana, so with this projects, when they, during the implementation phase and after they go live, is there one right answer, or maybe it can be different things, but what is the best for, organizations that go with this large implementations like Oracle ERP? Should they hire, experienced subject matter experts from the market, or should they grow someone in-house during the implementation phase and then they will be ready? Or is it too hard? I don't know.
No, I think that the truth is in the middle. So I strongly recommend to have a few people from the market who have seen it, who have done it before. The moment when they become a part of organization suddenly grows in some confidence, or yes, we at least know someone who have seen it. So that's for sure. And definitely through the project, that's a moment of growth of new generation of people who will own the solution for the company. And normally I'm saying that that's a massive opportunity for in-house talents to step up, take responsibility, because normally these projects come with some roles like process owners, product owners, to be like lead of reporting stream or whatever. So you are suddenly becoming a person who is in charge, who will get mandate to take certain decision, who will have mandate to interact with variety parts of organization. So you don't have closed door. If for the project you need to knock any distant team, you have a mandate to go and ask this team for help. So that's clear. And for sure, there's people, there is sometimes a fear, I don't know, it's doable. It's doable to learn it. And actually, when you have professional SI, when you have a good product, you can learn through the project and to be really in a good shape by the moment when the system goes live. So that's doable. And second point, there is sometimes a fear internally, if I will let operations, if I will become a project dedicated person, what will happen with me further? That's why I'm also a bit of carefully instructing the client that you really, when you select your best talents and appoint for your project roles, you need to make sure that they have continuity. Usually process owners are staying in mandates and running the divisions or departments, some teams. So when the company is losing a process owner, for me, it's like a massive loss on investment. So in the past, you invested into this person and then you let a professional person to the market, not really smart. So that's a bit of a combination. So definitely get some who have seen it and for sure make a bet on growing and converting your team members. The same refers to IT. So people who have been operating previous version of solution. So if they are excited, if they are looking forward to learn a new technology, it takes time, but then when you have the project going on, that's the best platform to learn and to train certain capabilities. So here, I think that it's like making sure that the company does smart moves, invest certain best resources to create a new generation team which will support and develop the solution further.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it seems to be a combination of both. I like it. Yeah.
Combination of both, yes.
Nice.
Okay, maybe I'm going to start digging a little deeper into project management. Me personally, I've been like frustrated with the project managers. Yeah, are you done with this? Is it on track? What is the status of this? Can you tell me what's happening? So tell me from a project manager's perspective, big transformation projects, you have technology team doing its own thing. Then you have change management team. You have training. Maybe training is part of the change management itself, but you have all those different teams that you need to keep an eye on, watch out for, keep getting status inputs, status updates. So tell me a little bit from a project manager's perspective, what's going on?
Oh, yes. So fasten your seatbelt. Yes, from a project management perspective, yes, for sure. I think that pretty often project managers are the ones who are coming, demanding, and setting certain timelines and so on. And the reason for this, for sure, comes into securing the integrity and overall delivery of the program. So let's imagine a program manager, if the program has like a few functional streams, if it has technical stream, data stream, reporting stream, change management stream, communication stream. So you're getting up to 10 streams which are running in parallel. And PMO is usually the ones who are like making sure that all the streams are coming to certain toll gates on track. But let's be realistic, the things are not happening on time. We bounce into problems, we bounce into challenges, delays. And what is happening with project management, the team is constantly replanning. So I'm laughing when there is a severe or middle of execution. My email box is primarily about escalation and replanning. There is nothing else in my email box anymore. And it's normal because when the streams are set up with their vision, they are driving the content, they are executing, and then project management is becoming more a filter which is reacting when the things are deviating. That's why we come after you and ask, are you on time? Are you delivering on Friday by 6? Are you sure? And pretty often reacting to the deviations which require mitigation or damage control. Because let's be honest, some missed timeline in one stream can automatically trigger collateral damage on a few other streams, and all the program is running out of any track. And that's where PMO is intervening and driving the discussion. And maybe here how you can help PMO to be effective, not to run after you personally or whatever. Usually the program has certain governance set up, so there are for sure some steering committees, operational meetings, and make sure that operational meetings are attended and you have relevant content, because half of your half of questions from PMO can be eliminated if there is a proper delivery of report on time, because PMO is hoovering all the reports and then making the judgment on the problems and reaction. And make sure that you are proactively assessing, are you on time with the deliverables or not? Because the moment when you are not on time, it triggers replanning, and PMO in some cases can do damage control, in some cases can put mitigation measures. So if you feel that there is a high chance that you will not be on time, do a favor, send a message to PMO. That might save quite a few efforts somewhere in other streams and somewhere in replanning. But all in all, the governance is the one who should more or less regulate when and how we discuss the progress, issues, because any operational meetings, they are becoming also, are you on time, and what are the risks and concerns, and whom do you need from other teams? So, and if you really love your PMO, come back to them sometimes with the good news, just to bring some variety in the email boxes. Do not bring only problems, bring some good news. They would be positively surprised. Oh, we have good news.
Interesting. I had a question because you mentioned, if you feel like there's a high chance that something is going to get delayed, flag it to the PMO. But I've run into cases where I have an inkling. Maybe this is going to be delayed, but I'm not sure yet. Maybe. So I have that feeling. So in cases where you have that, it's not concrete yet, but there's that feeling that maybe. So do you feel like those are instances where the team should bring those things up with the PMO?
I think that it's important to have really good, trustful relationship with PMO, that you feel okay to say, PMO 50-50. There is a chance I will make it, there is a chance I will not make it. And maybe when the picture is not yet clear, so we do not know whether it will happen or not, the value of this discussion comes in understanding what would be the impact on others. So who would be impacted by this? And that's where you can give a call to PMO and just openly ask, if I'm running late by Friday, so where you will get the hit, what are the interdependencies? In some cases, you might know this. You might know that the next stage will not be achieved or whatever, but you might not know some other streams which are lining up, I don't know, environments for data migration and so on. And if you are not ready, suddenly all the plan is shifting and drifting, and PMO will need to hold some other streams on doing the activities. So primary story is I hope that you will be blessed with a good PMOs with whom you build really trustful relationships, and make sure that you check for interdependencies, because it's normal to be red. So I have not seen any program which is fully green. It is green on day one. Again, if it's poorly prepared, you should be late already on day one. And when it's too green, it's like I'm getting suspicious. it's normal to be late. It's normal to react and catch up. But again, it should have a reason. And if you tomorrow save additional 10 working days on something, that should be also added into the plan and celebrated as a success. By the way, they suddenly moved ahead by 10 days just because of something. So it's a balance, and interdependencies are the biggest problem in these transformation projects, because it usually comes communication, integrations, data migration, environments, and architects are shouting on this. So it becomes a bit of a multi-dimensional problem. But if we know that it comes in advance, then there is a discussion, operational teams, that would be a potential development, who is impacted. And then we know who's impacted.
Yep, that makes sense.
Awesome. Tatiana, I'm very curious, if you compare your experience, pre-COVID and after COVID. Obviously, after COVID, there is like very high rate of remote work on both sides, from consulting, implementation, as well as from client side. Is it more difficult now to keep the timeline, to control the timeline and deliveries, because of people prefer to work remotely versus when most of the team in person in the office?
Yes, I think that we now actually in some new era when we will never go back to complete in office operations, and there are pluses and minuses of this reality.
Yeah.
For transformation, I'm laughing, it's a contact sport. You really need to see an eyes of people in front of you. Unfortunately, Zoom, MS Teams, they are not created a proper bonding to a level. They are good enough, so they definitely can even save in some cases a lot of time, because when you have a daily call for daily stand-up for 15 minutes, and when 70% of people are able to attend, it's already an achievement. You get the call with a 70%. So it really can serve the purpose. But I still believe in the need to have physical meetings and touch bases of these people. They might be, in some cases, on a heavy content. There is a certain content you can hardly nail down on MS Teams, especially if it's very complex, very technical, or way too many dependencies when people need to react. On MS Teams, it's very challenging to navigate.
Yeah.
And plus, I still believe that people need to create more personal bonds. And creating these personal bonds is easier with a cup of coffee, or with a drink, or with a snack, or laughing and chatting in the room. So, and in my practice, I do try to create spots like when there is once per month a meeting, let it be 50, 70%, whoever can, they attend. And it's more physical meeting to create these bonds, to touch base. And also people use it as an opportunity to resolve a lot of small discussions. When you need to plan a call, it's half an hour, but you can nail quite a few decisions when you talk to a person just drinking a coffee. So it's a mixture. So from one hand, you can use digital technology to help you to connect and to deliver the messages, but still human factor is the key. And I really prefer to get people together once per month, once per quarter. It depends also on geographical footprint of the companies, but physical touch base is really helping to the teams to create this community, integrity, inclusiveness, whatever. So it's so many dimensions and bonds which are created at these events. So they are precious for transformation journeys.
Yeah, no, I can agree more. It definitely helps when you meet in person. It's a different level of I would say of integrity, of bonding, and all of that. And yeah, for sure it helps.
Yeah, I think that's why even when we set up events, we try to make it in-person events. So we've never done any virtual events yet. We try to get the people in, and makes a big difference in my mind.
Yeah.
All right. What else? I have a few more questions, but I'll let others take a give a chance to others.
Maybe, yeah, I'm very curious, Tatiana. So now with the development of AI, do you see more demand from clients, like either an AI feature, what AI features they have, or is it even as a distinct or standalone stream where clients would like to see something AI driven?
I've been a part of quite a few discussions where there is a wish of AI, and I call it yet a wish, but shape and form yet to be worked on. So again, we see a lot of basic products or general products which are supporting our lives, like ChatGPT and whatever they are already, or Copilot, they're available and you can use them. But again, they are enhancing some of the opportunities and things what we can do. If you look about more professional ask of AI, and when we talk about ERP, EPM, and so on, this suits. So that's where AI need to get into the next level, not only doing the nodes. I see it like twofold. Everyone wants already AI, but people forget about the point that in order to make AI work, you need to have a proper data set underneath. And these fundamentals are not always present. People by default assume, oh, we will get into ERP, or we have ERP, we have the data, but pretty often this data is not yet prepared for any AI processing to the level what we would like to have it. And while deploying new clouds now, new ERPs, my biggest message is don't go into customizations, because that's where you start ruining your data models. So data models which are now embedded in Oracle, they are feeding Oracle AI. I assume the same is happening in other products. So the moment when clients are going wild with customizations, they are doing a first massive mistake and closing the doors for AI just because they are re-engineering the data structures underneath. Then you need to make sure that this data is processed by these powerful models, and we can see quite a few of them already embedded in standard products. I will start with some pieces of ERP, and for the buyers, AI model is supplying a lot of analytics on the contracts, on similar items which have been purchased, on the pricing, and so on. In the past, it would take multiple hours for professional buyer to dig it out. Now it comes automatically with the model. If you have a proper data set, the model will give you a quite an accurate advice, or quite accurate forecast of the things. The same in HR domain. So in HR domain, like running extensive analysis on candidates and so on, these models are available, but they need to play on top of proper base and with the proper logic, and then the model can advise you with a lot of nice tips and selecting the best candidates, and also recommending what should be the capabilities uplifted there. When we talk about EPM, and on EPM I have a big preference, because you are the guys who are coming with quite extensive value for the businesses, pretty often underestimated, but you are the ones who are making a lot of business cases for a lot of transformational programs. And that comes into budgeting and forecasting. Look, the models which are available right now, if you have a proper set of parameters installed, they can increase your accuracy of forecasting to a very, very high degree. They can save you hours of work of people when people had in the past to run some models in Excel. So now it's more like predictive forecasting, what you can build and generate already from the system. Or when we talk about some profitability analysis and so on, all this comes as long as you have a proper data, as long as you understand your business, the models are shaped up to help you to make certain decisions. So I think that AI, at least in this like ESS or support system domain, has slightly different nature. It's not like replacing code or replacing people. It's increasing automation and also increasing the lead time to get certain data and analysis done. Again, I still have not seen the models which are able to substitute a financial educated professional. I have not seen them, and it will take many years before we will figure it out. So let's be honest, finance or HR people, the domains or the sphere of function is not that straightforward. It has a lot of variables which come either from a human nature or from a business nature. It will take time to train the model. So I am completely relaxed that we are not yet in discussing the replacement of professionals. We are more discussing enhancing them and focusing them on more value creation, and basic transactional analysis or data gathering can be done by the system. So there is for sure a wish of AI, but it will take maturity with the data. It will take maturity with understanding how and in which part of your functional teams you would like to have it, and then sharpening the tools, because again, these are tools, they are not coming just like open and use it. You need to have some time and to build capabilities to operate them.
Yes, certainly agree. If you don't have a proper data, then nothing that AI or anyone can do for you. And yeah, it's certainly about productivity, not about a replacement at this moment. If I can quickly, this is my last question, quickly, follow up. You mentioned about ERP and EPM, and I'm curious. I have a perception that when it comes to implementation ERP and EPM has less risk with delaying or with failing versus ERP. Is it is it what you have experienced?
I think that under ERP we have a huge bulk of transactional processing.
Right.
And normally it comes, you might have some sophisticated processes, and you are usually dealing with huge volumes of data. So you still have quite some volume of data for planning, but again, that would be limited. But if we talk about ERP suite, you normally have like minimum 40 data objects, and they would have a volume of thousands of transactions. So yes, ERP, it has maybe bigger set of processes, and some of them are heavy on volumes. And if you do a mistake by 1 cent on a big volume, you might miss a few millions in your P&L. Right. So again, EPM, I think that if you are well organized, lead times of EPM in a very good delivery mode are shorter than ERP, and you can get a good quality. And actually, in some cases, I'm discussing trade-offs to let EPM go ahead of ERP solution and then rather reintegrate, reduce the integration, but let the value come already with whatever you can build. Again, dependent on reality. Yep. And as is case of the client, but that could be a choice.
Sounds great. Yeah, thank you, Tatiana. That's very insightful. I'm done, guys, with my questions.
Yeah, I had one going a little backwards to Fred's question on AI, specifically for like a project management role. How do you see, in the next few years in the future, how do you see that role changing with the addition of AI tools to sort of help supplement a project manager?
Supplement, I have a doubt, but add on for sure. So let's be honest, it saves quite some time on writing meeting minutes and capturing the tasks. Again, Copilot can fly with this, and or any other solution, they can definitely help with this. Also shaping some reminders and so on. I hope that it will help and ease some of this, like, transactional routine operations. But still, on project management role, escalation is something what you cannot give to AI, and catching interdependencies. If you have human factor inside, I don't think that AI model can catch up with it. So would say that it's a massive support tool, substituting not really. Again, we will see in 2-3 years.
Yeah, I like the add-on. I think the add-on is the key there instead of substitute. Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's all about productivity.
Yeah.
Is there a preferred project management tool that you use, or any recommendations? I know Microsoft Projects is.
I think that these transformation programs, they usually using multiple tools, but what's important is the method what you put above. That's something what I have in my to-do list to capture the method by Tatiana. But all in all, I think that most SIs, product owners, they all have method how you get into cloud or into solution. More or less, it repeats similar patterns with small tweaks. And what's important that all the team understands this method from the beginning till the end. I've seen enough of the stories when people communicated nice fancy graph, which is one page with some arrows, circles, and so on. That's the method. And after this, there is some like hamster routine on a daily basis. You get the task, but you forget what will happen tomorrow. So it's important to always to show people how you stand versus method, what is the next step, because then people realize what is the impact of what they do on the next step. So that creates different attitude and understanding amongst the team on priorities, and they are becoming much more self-running because they see the path further. And what's important for each of the stage and specific artifacts to be clear what are the tools used. Yes, you can use MS Project for sophisticated planning, but let's be realistic. In quite some of the clients, half of the people will not have access to MS Project, so you will end up redistributing the things by Excel. So let's be realistic there. But there are certain elements where you do not want to allow the tool to go into simplification and Excel and SharePoint or emails. So there are certain moments what you would like to capture. For example, when you sign off the processes, I really want to make sure that the processes are signed off in a professional manner, and then you look for the tool where you can capture the moment and who has signed off, where you can have some reflection and comments, because there could be some discussion around the sign off happening. So what I in general propagate, it's not a game of one tool. It's like you take your method, and across your method you really define the tools what you will be used. For general document, SharePoint, good enough, whatever format and shape and so on. If you have documents what you would like to sign off, I prefer to have some different systems. So I'm a big fan of Jira. It's not an advertising campaign, but if you start training your users to use Jira, even if the one who never used it before, pretty soon are getting on board and realize how it works. Any other ticketing system or capturing system. So the moment when you define where you are using which type of tools, it simplifies the life of people, and you sign off the documents. If that's Jira or whatever solution, everyone knows that you sign off only there, you sign off process designs, you sign off technical designs, you sign off data, you sign off everything there. So people get trained relatively fast. project plan we distribute to you by Excel, even if we run it at the backend and MS project. And then for testing, we are using Jira or whatever. So it just defining the tools per relevant stage of the project. And some of them would be reused a few times and people will learn and start using them.
Great. I have a very important question. So we talk about three key aspects, right? People, process, technology.
Mm-hmm.
And many times maybe the people are on board, they're not willing to change the process, and they look for technology to do every sort of things. That may not be the case. Sometimes people are not on board, technology is there, process is not there. So what's the balance, and where do you see, okay, these are the three important things, and what's the right balance, or how do you enable a right balance between all of these three key aspects for a project to be successful? It's a loaded question, hey?
It's a tricky question. If I would drag this not forever, that would be easy, but that's not the way it works. I think that on technology, it's something what you have as a given at certain point of time, and you can have expectation on development, and maybe you can push for some development. So that's for me where you can do less influence to have it rapidly uplifted. So you have certain level and you have it. When we talk about process and people, I think that the key answer are people. So I would say that actually the key to success starts with people on top of all this triangle and their motivation and agenda. And it's a lot about creating a proper story why we are doing it. It's a lot about understanding the agenda of people, what's in it for me as a person, what's in it for company, and making sure that people go through this curve of understanding, recognizing, and getting into buy-in. Because you can change the processes only with the help of people. You can change probably certain share of technology with some people, but people are the most important in this equation. And it's having their buy-in. It's about overall vision. It's about getting them realizing their power, their influence. I have seen much more people who were at the beginning, maybe not the biggest supporters, but they were preserving what they had before, and that was company value. Look, there are many fantastic professionals who have spent 20 years with the company, and when you come and say we will change it completely, it's a shock for them. But when you say we need you as a person with all your 20 years of experience to help it, to make it the best out of this technology, the dialogue is changing. We respect the legacy. It served the company great. You've been 20 years here. You are valued and appreciated. We need your knowledge to look ahead. Help us to make this new platform, new set of processes serving this company further. So these dialogues are much more common. So I've seen more need on running this type of dialogue with people than fighting or debating and so on. It's more explaining how this moment is changing and making sure that people play to their strengths and people are contributing and become a part of new reality. So it's very tricky, but it starts with people.
Yeah, I believe so. And I wanted everybody who's hearing this also to understand that it starts with the people, right? Because the people are not on board, doesn't matter what technology we bring in, it's not going to be successful. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I don't have any other questions, Tatiana. I don't know if you had something in mind which we didn't ask or cover.
You shoot quite a lot of questions. No, I think that I talked a lot.
No, this is good.
This was
Yeah,
good.
thank you so much for all of those insights.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for inviting me. So looking forward for your next podcasts as well. Looking forward to see more women there. So please help us to get them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've already set up a time in June with somebody. So
Yeah, very good, very good. So it's like a commitment.
yes.
It's
But it's really nice, and thank you very much for doing this effort. So it's a nice talk for professional people. I hope that people will find it insightful and will get something for them. And let's take as a one big global community of family and connect when needed.
Yeah, of course,
Good.
of course.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
it's also interesting. I wanted to mention that there is also a power of LinkedIn. That's how Tatiana and we used to work before in the past. But I saw your post on LinkedIn, Tatiana. I think it was about meet your ex-boss. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, actually, I can reach out to Tatiana and see if this can work out. So thank you so much for being our guest.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Yes, wish you a great day further.
Of course.
Sounds good.